Hey, what's going on, YouTube family? So today is a little bit of a different video for me. Don't mind the attire. I had an interview, a third interview today, which I'll make a video about that because that was interesting. But the purpose of this video is, hold on, my son, what are you doing? The purpose of this video is to show you guys what my presentation was for a final round for a software company that I was interviewing with. Now, I did get an offer from this company, so I want to show you all. So their interview process was, I believe it was 3 interviews. So I did an initial interview, and then I did a second interview. The initial interview was really just like getting to know you. It was like very, very basic. The second interview was more like legitimate interview questions. And then this third one, I had to do a presentation, a hobby presentation. Now with this role, it's an account manager role. And I'm assuming they really just wanted to see like my presentation skills, how I could like interact with the people that I was presenting to, things like that. Because I'll have to do like demos and talk to clients and all that. So I did this presentation. I was extremely nervous. Again, this is a software company. It's completely remote. This did end up in an offer. Okay. So I know the presentation is probably not perfect, but it worked, right? It definitely works. So I want you guys to actually watch the presentation so that you can see some of the things that I did. And a lot of it I did purposely. Like there's a part where I asked the audience a question and had them participate. The way that I structured the presentation was very intentional. Like in the beginning where I kind of tried to tug on the emotions a little bit with my story and then got into what my hobby is. So just pay attention to those things because everything that I did was very planned out, very intentional. And again, it did lead up to an offer. So it worked. So I'm going to go ahead and play it. Of course, you know, there might be like information I have to like redact out of there, like the company information or the company name and things like that, of course. But I'm going to try to just play it really all the way through, all the parts that I can that doesn't mention anything confidential. But other than that, let me know your feedback below. Hopefully this helps you in case you ever have to do a presentation for an interview process for a tech company or software company. So that's my goal with it. And also this is a super, super vulnerable moment for me. Okay. It's kind of awkward, like sharing the actual footage from interview processes, you know, cause like I was super nervous and this is my first time really going through interview processes in a very, very long time, which is why I'm documenting it to share with you all. So don't laugh too hard. Okay. Yeah, don't laugh at me too hard, but enjoy.
If you need to share or do anything, you should be able to go. We'll stay on mute as you have the entire floor. You have a collection of the account management and client success team here. Awesome. And team, this is Sierra Nicole for a hobby presentation. So looking forward to handing it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So let me go ahead and share my screen. So hopefully everyone can see that okay. Awesome. I see some head nods. Well, welcome to my hobby presentation titled The Hobby That Changed Everything, where passion meets purpose and profession. So I'm super excited to be here and just to be able to present and tell you all a little bit about myself. I was a little nervous, but everyone here looks super nice. So I'm really excited to dive into it. So first off, my name is Sierra Nicole. I am from Gilbert, Arizona, but I reside in Dallas, Texas. So I've been here for about 6 years. I'm also a wife, a mom, and I am slightly obsessed with the TV show Suits. So if we end up working together, I might say a few references here and there, just ignore it. But I love everything about business, finance, and tech. I'm a little bit of a nerd, so like that's kind of the things that I do for fun. But before I dive into exactly what my hobby is, I first have to tell you a little bit about how it all started for me. In 2018, I had my beautiful daughter, Avery. This photo is from 2018. And I was diagnosed with postpartum depression. So if you don't know what postpartum depression is, it's something that is very common in new mothers. And it is clinical depression, and it can affect mothers up to the first 5 years after you give birth. And I was diagnosed with that. I struggled with my mental health. As you can see, I was very, very thin. I was not eating. I had some eating disorders, and I was just struggling mentally. And one day I was scrolling on social media like we all do, and I actually came across something called a 30-day self affirmation challenge. So it's basically a challenge where you were supposed to post a video on social media for one video every single day, telling yourself self affirmations. Now, it's going to sound a little bit silly, but this is the first time I ever filmed a video of myself and posted it online. I was very, very nervous, but something had compelled me to participate. And so for 30 days straight, I recorded videos of myself saying things like, Sierra, you are loved. Sierra, you are, wealthy. You are prosperous. And throughout this journey of these 30 days, it absolutely transformed myself, the way that I viewed myself, but it also started to gain a little bit of traction on social media. I was very shocked because, like I said, I probably only had like 100 friends on Facebook. I was not very well versed in that world. But by posting this, a lot of people were very, very inspired by me just being vulnerable and sharing my story and the things that I was going through with my postpartum depression. That is when I discovered the world of social media content creation. And so my hobby is content creation. I love making videos. I talk about business, finance, and tech. I do a lot of reporting about just current events that are going on in the tech and finance world. I love to take complicated, news headlines that can be tricky to understand and really simplify it so that everyone can have access to the information and to the knowledge. So I'm very, very passionate about just educating and teaching, which is why going into social media content creation has absolutely had a huge impact on me, just being able to help and impact other people. And so throughout today's presentation, we are going to be diving into what is social media content creation, the impact that it's had on me, and the impact that it could have on yourself, and how to get started in social media. And then of course we'll have the Q&A towards the end. Now, what is social media content creation? I know it sounds super self-explanatory, but the fancy definition is content creation involves planning, producing, and sharing content in various forms. So many people think that social media is only for videos or photos, but it's also written content. So you may have read some blogs or newsletters that you like to consume on a regular basis. That is considered content. It is just a way for you to entertain, inform, educate, inspire, or even promote products or services if you like. But it's really just a way for you to connect with a community. And of course, with the internet, we're able to connect with people all over the world, which is amazing. But it's just a way for you to share those common interests with other people. And so the impact that this has had on me is being able to grow an audience of over 500,000 followers who are all interested in learning about business, learning about money and financial literacy and the world of tech. And so those are the type of things that I talk about. And so I've had over 100 million views over the last 2 years talking about these different topics. And it's had a huge impact on me as well as a huge impact on my career. I have been able to host different networking events here in Dallas because I love connecting with people. So every now and then, a couple times a year, me and my husband will just host networking events for different people, different professionals to come and just meet other people and connect with like-minded individuals and grow that network. Because as you know, your network is your net worth. It's so important for your career. And so I'm very passionate about just connecting like-minded people. And content creation has given me the opportunity to be able to do that. It also has helped me just establish myself and my personal brand. That top photo is my husband and I actually on the news. He has a background in trucking. And so we were on the news talking about the industry, and we've been featured in many different news outlets. And then also being able just to grow my credibility and to be able to get job opportunities. The role that I was in previously, the contract that I did with College Cash, I was actually able to get that role because I connected with the founder via social media. So it can be very impactful as far as a career. And so for you, if you were to ever be interested in growing growing on social media, and it doesn't necessarily have to be pertaining to your business. It could be something that you are interested in as far as reading books, or some people like fashion, some people like food or sports. There's so many things that you can create video content about. But some of the benefits of that is it creates an effect where people see you as the expert in whatever it is that you're talking about. You're able to build your network and connect with people from all over the world. It also helps you improve your public speaking skills, because when you're constantly talking in front of the camera, it really, really helps you just hone in on those communication skills and learn how to take complicated concepts and break it down and simplify it so that everyone can understand. It also can help you create career advancement opportunities, provide a creative outlet, and also challenge yourself. It's a new skill. And as you know, in order to progress in anything that you're doing, you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And so learning this new skill can really help you grow in any area of your life. And so just a quick mini masterclass about how you could get started with creating content on social media. And it's not as challenging as you might think. And so the first step is really figuring out who is your audience. And so every time I am teaching like a workshop or a seminar about social media, I always ask them this question. And so I'm going to ask you guys, and you can just type your answer in the chat. There's no wrong answer to it. But imagine you were a owner of a hot dog stand, okay? And with this hot dog stand, you can only have one competitive advantage over all of your competitors. What would that competitive advantage be? So you can just type it in the chat. Like I said, there's no wrong answers in anything, but I'm very curious as to what you guys think you would choose for your competitive advantage if you were the owner of a hot dog stand. Location, location, location. Awesome. I love it. Anyone else have any answers you want to throw in here? Heinz, yes. You have to have the condiments. I mean, I love Heinz ketchup. So definitely. The type of hot dog, the flavor. I love all of these answers. But one thing that I've learned through creating content is, in order to have that competitive advantage in anything that you're doing, you just have to have a starving crowd. You can have the worst hot dogs in the world, but if you're in front of a starving crowd, people are going to consume it. And so you don't have to have fancy equipment. You don't have to be the best speaker, but as long as you are speaking to an audience that is hungry for the information or the entertainment that you are providing, you are going to be able to find your tribe in the social media world. And so the first step is really figuring out who is that audience that you want to talk to with your social media content. The next step is going to be, what are you going to create about? So like I said before, you don't have to create things that are pertaining to your profession. It could be something that you enjoy, like sports or fashion. Or like me, I love talking about business and money. So those are things that I create, but you can decide what you want to talk about and who you want to speak to. And then the third step is very easy. It's just to create. And the number one thing with growing on social media and really being able to build your network is learning how to show up as your true and your authentic self. It's very easy to get caught up in the aesthetics of social media and trying to be like everyone else. But the best thing that you can ever do is just be yourself, and you're going to find people that relate to you. And so I hope that this presentation was helpful for you, just understanding the world of social media content creation and how this hobby of mine, something that I use to help bring me out of a very deep depression as a new mom, has turned into something that has helped me build my career. Even just being here today without social media, I wouldn't even be doing this presentation for you, because the person who referred me to, I connected with her through social media, and we ended up growing a professional relationship through there. So I wouldn't even be here if I never posted that first video. And so I hope that this was helpful and valuable for you. And so we can go ahead and open up the floor for any questions that you might have about my favorite hobby, social media content creation.
Sierra. Thank you so much for sharing a little bit.
Thank you.
Team, any questions for Chris this way?
It's really interesting. I'm trying to decide what to ask. So basically, you just started with what you're interested in.
Yes.
How did you generate a following?
So I just kept posting. I didn't really understand social media at first, and I was just posting things that I enjoyed talking about. So at first it was just me being very vulnerable with being a new mom, and then I started talking about the business aspects because my husband owned a trucking company, and so I would talk about our experiences in that. And then I started learning more about financial literacy and money, and I was just sharing the things that I was learning, and just organically through my videos, new people started to find me, and it just took off from there.
Wow. Well, thanks for sharing all this.
Yeah, thank you.
Sierra, what's the biggest challenge that you think you've had with this hobby?
Yes, so the biggest challenge has definitely been learning how to have a thick skin. Because as you know, the world of social media, when people are able to hide behind the screens, they can say anything and it doesn't impact them, but of course it still impacts you because you're the one that is consuming, negative comments and things like that. And so I've really learned to have a thick skin and learn how to also take criticism because I'm not, sometimes you may say something that's incorrect and someone will correct you and it's easy to get defensive, but learning how to see things from other people's perspective and be open to that criticism and take the meat and leave the bones is what I always like to say. But that's definitely been my biggest challenge is just learning how to decipher between the two.
So as an account executive, you essentially were the face of the company. So seeing that that's one of your challenges is to have a thick skin, how do you think that would translate into being the face of the company and basically we get beat up if I'm being honest. I'm sure the others would tend to agree. You have a thick skin being an account executive. How do you think that challenge that you've learned would translate into being an account executive? Or how would you approach that? Let me rephrase it that way since you may not have had that experience. How would you approach that challenge in being an account executive?
Yeah, I think the experience can definitely help me within this role in many different ways. But as being the face, you're facing the clients. And so if there are issues or something goes wrong, you're the one that they're venting to. You're the one that is, similar to when you go to a restaurant, right? And the kitchen gets your order wrong, but it's the waitress or the waiter that has to handle that complaint. And so it's the same thing within this role. And so it's just learning how to, like I said, have that thick skin and understand that it's not personal. They're just trying to deal with the issues that are happening, and I can just do my best to de-escalate the situation and take that responsibility. It's okay, blame it on me. I'd rather you blame it on me than have the client be upset, and we can just figure out a solution on the back end.
Thank you.
For some people that are on the call, out of curiosity, I'll ask for them. Would that hot dog stand ever carry tacos? I think it would definitely boost sales.
Yeah.
So awesome job. I'm curious, the one term that didn't come up that I thought would come up, what is an influencer? And how do they differ from social content? That's something I'm just generally curious, and I would like to learn a little bit. So what's it? Are you an influencer too, or just a media content creator? Again, Matt, another plug for you. We have a producer here who can do a podcast. If you want to get into that, Sierra.
Yes, well, I see influencers and content creators, the term is interchangeable. I don't like using the term influencer for me. People call me an influencer just because I have such a large social media following. But typically when you think about an influencer, someone who's just able to influence an audience, right? So if you give a piece of information, you're able to change their mind or persuade them to buy something. And really, I base my platform mostly off of sharing information. I'm not trying to sell a bunch of things. I just want people to be able to learn. And so that's why I like calling myself a content creator, because my main goal is just to create the information. I'm not worried about trying to sell a bunch of products. That's a great question.